Christopher Whitaker. I'm with the Smart Chicago Collaborative, here with Tom Schenk with the City of Chicago. So Tom, what do you do for the city?
So I'm the Director of Analytics and Performance Management. My goal, or my duties are to oversee anything that's data related for the City of Chicago. That includes database management, business intelligence, but also includes a couple new areas for government, advanced analytics and also open data, such as the Open Data Portal.
Okay. So Chicago has a lot of open data. How do you get that data out to the public?
Yeah, we have nearly 600 data sets on the portal so far, and we've grown tremendously over the last few years. We're particularly successful with in the City of Chicago is it's automated. So when we work to publish data on a data set, we write small computer programs that go take data from the original source system and updates it every single day. So we write a script, goes to the original database system, takes it, transforms it, and then loads it to the data portal through an API call.
Okay. So when I'm out walking the street and I see graffiti and annoys me, I use this app that reports it to 311.
Yep.
That actually gets sent straight to the data portal through the sort of the different areas?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. So it goes into our 311 database, and as soon as it's in the database, we take it and we use that information. One way we use the information is posting it to the data portal.
That's awesome. So you're not just like publishing data. You're also doing analytics on your data?
Yes, absolutely. That's a huge component of what this division does. We take data and we try to usually forecast things, predict where something might happen before it occurs, so we can proactively get to the source of the problem or take care of the problem before it's a nuisance to all the neighbors and all the residents of an area.
Okay. What are some good examples of that?
Yeah, so one thing that we launched, one of the very first things we launched was actually predicting where rodents were at. It was our first predictive program here. And what we did is we took a look at about 350 different variables. These were calls that are made to 311 and the different calls that people call the city with. And we did a few different techniques, and eventually we determined about 31 different variables or different calls, type of calls that people make that predict when a rodent call is going to come. So the actual way we set out our analytics is trying to forecast when somebody might be making a call within the next 7 days.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty incredible, actually. So you're a busy guy. So your team's responsible for publishing to the data portal. You're responsible for the predictive analytics component of it, and then you also come to Hack Nights a lot.
Yes, absolutely. Well, what makes the data portal also really successful in the city of Chicago is the civic hacking community. We have a robust community that I have conversations about. Many people reach out, come to Chicago to see the civic hacking community. And that's a great success for the community, for the data portal as well, because people are using that information. When we publish information, we actually see results based on it. People are using it to help their day-to-day life. And without that collaboration, we can't continue to be better. And so it's great to talk to everybody on Hack Nights and all the different events that we have around the city of Chicago.
So outside of the Hack Night, how else do you interact with civic developers?
Yeah, absolutely. So often through other meetings and meetups that happen around town, but also I'm really easy to get a hold of. So a Twitter account, Chicago CDO, people often ask questions and we get back to those questions. People email us questions, we get back to it as well. So we're here for customer service in many different ways. So when people reach out to us, we'll interact with them. We'll take ideas. We'll explicitly take ideas from the civic hacking community and implement that because when a good idea is a good idea, we'll use that. That's
awesome. So if I'm sort of just starting into civic hacking and my city has a data portal, can you show us a little bit about how the data portals work?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I use your computer?
Yeah.
All right. So what we have here is the City of Chicago Open Data Portal. What you'll notice is that there's 4 data sets here on top. These are just data sets that we tend to highlight. Potholes have been a notable topic lately, so we highlight that so people can see where they're at and what has been filled. Budget is always a crucial aspect for the city of Chicago, but also we have energy usage, such as energy consumption by census block, and then also crimes, one of our most famous data sets that we have on this portal. But perhaps the best way to find anything that you really want to use is just simply search for it. So let's take a search for service requests. Service requests correspond to our 311 calls that I alluded to earlier. It's our non-emergency service line that people call when they have non-emergency events to take care of. Let's take a look at this top one here as we see the service requests. Tree debris. So if somebody has tree debris or notices tree debris in the streets, on the sidewalks, in an alleyway, they can call 311 and the city will send out crews to take care of this problem. But now you see all the data here in front of you. You see every single time somebody has made this call, you can see where this call took place, when the call took place, including zip code, the ward that it's in, the police district, the community area, and of course you see there the latitude and longitude. But let's take a look at one of the other data sets that are on the portal that maybe not everybody's heard of before. Towed vehicles.
So if I'm parked in the city of Chicago illegally, and y'all tow my car, that actually goes up on the data portal.
Yes, absolutely. So this is a process of the city that gets recorded when somebody complains about a tow, or somebody asks about whether or not their vehicle is towed. They can call 311, but it's also available on the data set, and it's refreshed quite often, every 10 minutes. So we see the towed vehicles data set here, and we bring that up. So you can see when the vehicle was towed, the make, the style, the model, and even the color, plate number, and where the vehicle was towed to, including the phone number of the facility that was towed to, so you can contact them. So this is how you see the information, but you can interact with it in several different ways. One simple way of interacting with it is to export it. As you can see here, that when you press the export button, you get several different options, such as the download files as a CSV, JSON, or if you're really pioneering, you can try to rescan it in from PDF.
PDFs are not open data. Even though you can export on the data portal, doesn't count.
Another way that people like to interact with it is using the API, and that's particularly useful for analysts and also web programs who will actually want to frequently revisit the data on a day-to-day basis. So if you click here to SOTA API, you can see the API endpoints for this data set. It's this URL here, http://data.cityofchicago.org, as you see, but then /resource and then / a unique 4x4. This 4x4 corresponds to each data set, so you can actually tell the data set by just using its 4x4 and its address. So I'll copy and paste that into the address bar.
Okay.
And what you'll see here is a JSON file of all the car tows and all the same information that you just saw, but now you can make through a RESTful API call as opposed to having to download the data or actually go to the data portal to view it.
So the API is just a way for my particular Civic app to talk to the data portal directly, so I don't have to copy paste or do anything physically. The program can talk to the data portal for me.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a URL that you can always visit, and you know that you'll get data back from it.
Is there an example of programs that do this?
Yeah, so one example program actually using this data set was My Car Towed. Let's take a look at it here. This was programmed by Scott Rubin, who's a civic developer in the city of Chicago, and is actually also a successful entrepreneur as well. So it's great to see entrepreneurs being able to develop and contribute to the civic development community. But he has a simple website that's based on this data set, wasmycartowed.com. So my car with license plate, and there's a blank. So let's type in a license plate number. So we see that information there. Was parked in Chicago, I cannot find it. So we click on this button, and indeed, this vehicle was towed. It was towed to 103 block of South Dottie on May 21st.
That is awesome. So if I'm new to civic hacking and I've found the data portal, is there any resources or guides for how to use the Socrata data portal?
Yes, absolutely. Socrata does have a developer's website. dev.socrata.com. Here you can find information about app development, API calls, and other various nuances of the data portal. Here you can find information about app developers, libraries and SDKs, and other questions you may have. What might be of particular interest is libraries and SDKs that are compatible with the data portal. Socrata supports a number of different programming languages, such as Java, such as Ruby, and it even is compatible with R, thanks to one of the members of my team, Hugh Devlin, who put together R Socrata, a library that allows you to pull data from the data portal from R.
And it's on your GitHub page.
It is. It's an open source program that our team put together and released as an open source project.
That is awesome. So R is used mainly for what is R mainly used for?
It's mainly used for statistics and analytics that is used to power a number of different civic applications, such as How's Business Chicago. Behind this is a series of R scripts that creates these graphs and present them as well.
Oh, awesome. So, is there anything that I forgot to ask you, or that would be useful for people getting into civic hacking to know?
Absolutely. Talk to folks and try to identify problems that you might have on a day-to-day basis. That's a great thing about working in the city and actually working in the civic development community. You can walk out on the street and you wonder why something is a certain way. You can now have the data to ask those questions, and hopefully you have the skill to be able to tackle that in an interesting way that might be able to engage others, answer the question for you, and maybe answer the question for the city of Chicago.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chris.